Hi everyone, Mon here. Welcome to the channel and welcome back to the channel, my subscribers. I'm so sorry I did miss a video last week, and I had such big plans for myself, my will, for another step into presenting. And, I've always said this: we make plans, God laughs, and my focus as a human being this life is to fully hand my will and my life over to my higher self, right? So I've had 2 weeks of being very sick. I'm going to put my pajamas back on and go back to bed after this. It's early morning, Sunday here in Australia. And today, if you've been watching astrologers online, the big news, bubbles, basket, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, Jupiter, all around that 4 degrees mark, trines, sextiles. And in the coming week, we have opposition from the full moon, not this week, the next week. The full moon will be conjunct Pluto, opposing Jupiter. It's a lot, okay? It's a lot, right? So you're not alone if you're wondering what's going on. But as I have said, compassion. Self-compassion. We are in times that we've never been in before. I've never been in before in my 60 years. And we've got software now that goes back thousands of years. So there's big changes. Barbol thought in his thinking and his 90s when he passed, we're heading into the golden age. Well, I tend to psychically agree with that. When I was younger, I didn't even know what a golden age was, but I spoke those words out of my mouth. So this video today, it's not the week's planetary astrological energies. It's just, I think we need to get back to Pluto. And that's what this channel was started on, was my actual personal experience of Pluto conjuncting my natal sun. Firstly, my natal Mercury in the 6th house, which is the hardest house other than the 12th house, to experience heavy energies, and I was born with the sun in that heavy energy house, 6th house, and Mercury. Now, I'm sick, right? No one came for a healing who was sick. I don't remember talking to anybody who was sick. So as a Leo rising, and we must remember this, if you are a Leo rising, the 12th house ruled by Pisces, Neptune, the unconscious, right? Well, I have Cancer there. Now, we all know the sun is in Cancer at the moment. We all know that Cancer, that Mercury is retrograding in Cancer. Now, Mercury is going to retrograde back to square Saturn in Aries. Now, Saturn and the ruler of Cancer, the moon, they're not buddies, okay? I have Saturn square the moon in my chart. It has caused a lot of emotional family issue, right? Pain, emotional pain. So the 12th house obviously opposes my natal 6th house, where my big, strong sun is. Well, today, that sun in the 12th house of Cancer is opposing my natal sun, 26 degrees, 50 minutes. So that's where the sun is at the moment, in Cancer. So when Mercury started retrograding, well, actually, it started with Jupiter. So when Jupiter was at that anaretic degree, very important degree, the last degree of Cancer, all the family stuff come up. Again, now you guys know how hard I've worked on these issues. And this brings us to Chiron, who has just put its toe into Taurus. Now, the wounded healer is is, you know, the nickname we give for Chiron. And if you study the myth of the wounded healer, when I do charts, the Chiron is very important for me to see what the soul is here to overcome. Okay, so I do consultations, and the wounded healer Chiron is very important. I understand Chiron. I started getting alongside Chiron in 2005, over 20 years ago. So I've brought Chiron into my life. It's a part of who I am. And I was born with Chiron in Pisces, opposing Pluto and Uranus conjunct. So, you know, and Saturn was there with this wounded healer in Pisces as well. This isn't an easy chart to live out, all right? The wound never leaves, okay? So I've done 6 years global adult child work, and I stepped up to the plate and ran the meetings. And, when you want to learn something, you teach it, or you get involved as part of service, 6th house sun service. So that's what I did. So in the last couple of weeks, when Jupiter left Cancer, the sun came into Cancer, Mercury started retrograde, going back, heading to square Saturn. I'm Capricorn. I'm ruled by Saturn. Well, I get sick. The 6th house is sickness. All that opposite me. But it was an internal sickness. The fluids that have been coming out of my nose, my chest is, 3 boxes of tissues I've been through, spitting and blowing and blah, blah, blah. And I'm so sorry if this is making you, if you're having breakfast, it's breakfast time here. But, it's in our chart, every day today thing that goes on when we're consciously connected to ourselves and not our will and our fears. It just happens. I had big plans for the last 2 weeks, and here I am in bed. And to the point where I needed to get antibiotics, right? And tomorrow's my last day of antibiotics, and listen to me, I'm still crook. Okay, so God's will, not my will. And I've had to have deep compassion for myself. Why? Because the family stuff came up again. Cancer energy, the family. I have that South Node in that 4th house. I don't have family anymore. I'm in the world alone now, because that was my soul's path, was to learn to live without codependence on family. Okay, and everybody lives in a family. They don't realize they're codependent until they're not in that family, and they have nobody other than themselves and their connection with spirit, because that is your saving grace. Okay, no man is an island unless they live in communion with their ancestors, the angels, the ascended masters, as one, the law of one. So, yes, I've been sick, and I haven't been able to bring to you what I'd like to bring. I have had to undergo suffering, because the 12th house is subconscious, the house of the subconscious. So still, the subconscious opened with the sun in Cancer, Mercury retrograding, Jupiter leaving Cancer, a final expansion of that 12th house for me, Cancer, family, the moon, emotions. And we had that new moon in Cancer. Normally new moons don't grab me. This one did. It was a new moon, full moons finishing up, releasing is usually a tougher energy than a new moon energy. But this is all going across my 12th house, 6th house axis. But anyway, that was just me telling you today here where I've been last week. I didn't even feel like making this video today. I got a lovely email from a gentleman who was very encouraging for me to keep making videos, because I do get very despondent, and because I love meditating and being in my own world, my own universe, not attached to media and what's going on out there. I do this because I have the sun in the 6th house and I'm here to serve. But really, I could quite easily be happy just to do nothing. You know, I'm not attached. I'm not attached. I've told you before, I believe this is my last life, right? And I get a break after this. And there's many souls on this channel that also have that awareness, especially the 60s born, because that's mid-60s. It was tough. It was a tough cycle. So anyway, we're going to have a look at Pluto, all right, because I think I'm just going to have to keep banging on about Pluto because I've also integrated Pluto in the last 20 years studying Pluto. So this is how you integrate the planetary energy, is by studying it and working it out and how it works in your life. And this is why astrology is such a huge topic, because there's so much, you know, I'll never get through it. I still study astrology every day and have done since I was 17, right? So 43 years. And it still keeps me interested, right? So I've only been doing charts in the last few years because it was all about me, the astrology. It was a personal development tool to help to soothe the pain that I felt from the family rejection, the Saturn square, the moon, you know, the retrograde Venus in the 7th house, the retrograde Saturn, the retrograde Jupiter, you know, no love coming, just more hard work, suffering, right? Undergoing pain, releasing it out through the body. So that's Pluto, what Pluto loves to do. You know, Pluto is there like a plumber, cleaning out the old stuff, the old patterns, the old lessons, the old family stuff, all right, because that's where we've given our power. And there is in the playlist so many videos on Pluto. So if you're having these transits and you're in pain, you know, go to the playlist. And if you're, you know, the more that you study the planets and the energies, let's say, right, the longer that you study and the more familiar you become with the energies, you become more sensitive to the energies. Like I've said, some people feel the energies of a full moon the night before. They can't sleep that day, that night. Well, I feel it a week before because I know it's coming and I know what those energies are. And as soon as the energies come into my life, whoop, I know exactly what they are. So, you know, there's a downside to understanding all of this and evolving into enlightenment as well. But, you know, Pluto's got to become our mate. Otherwise, it's a scary energy, right? You know I have a client, a hands-on healing client that doesn't know anything about astrology or has a higher power or anything, and she's going through Pluto opposed her natal sun. Well, she was just walking on the street at 8, 9 o'clock at night. These kids were behind her. One silly kid decided to come and banged her, pushed her down to the ground, and they all ran off, 15-year-olds or something. Now, my intuition immediately told me that kid didn't plan to do that. That was just some sparky energy where he's gone, I'll show off in front of the rest and push her to the ground. She blacked out, you know, scraped all her face. But as soon as she's telling me this, I'm going, Pluto, you have a Pluto transit, right? You don't be getting around the streets at 9 o'clock at night because you're tempting the darker energies. So there's darker energies come up from our unconscious, subconscious, but then it's out there as well. You know, we need to be very careful out on the streets when we've got a transiting Pluto, right? Not to fear, just wisdom, all right? So Jupiter has left Cancer and is now in Leo. And the astrologers and the young baby astrologers, yay, it's all going to be wonderful. Jupiter's wonderful. Oh, it'll be better than cat, da-da-da-da-da. But see, this is where you got no astrology. And I'm not here to scare you. I'm the practical Capricorn, remember? We've got the South Node on the 26th of July heading into Leo on the anaretic degree, which is a power degree, 29 degrees, Leo, right? So the whole time that Jupiter's going to be in Leo, we've got the South Node transiting Leo as well. And those two are going to conjunct and cross each other, right? We've also got the burning up of Jupiter. When the sun ingresses into Leo, it's going to hit Jupiter, right? So that's a cycle, a new cycle. So the sun will be burning up Jupiter into a new cycle. GEMINI, they call it that with the Mercury, when the sun and the Mercury cross. And I've made a video about that, Mercury crossing in front of the sun, Mercury crossing behind the sun. So, let's just get a little bit practical about this. Yes, there's going to be expansion, but with that South Node, K2, Indian, Vedic, karmic points. They are points, but they call them planets, the Indian astrology. And it's about releasing the shady sides of Leo, all right? And when we get to Leo, we're talking ego, but it takes ego to be up on the stage like Mick Jagger, Madonna, they're all Leos. Oh, that new Young Blood, he's a Leo, classic Leo, Young Blood, if you know him online. So let's just keep that in mind, okay? And also, Mars is still in Gemini, so Mars has got to come through Cancer and activate all this Cancer energy as well, right? So this family stuff, if it is affecting you and in your consciousness, right, and pains and issues and memories that you thought that you'd overcome through counselling and banging on about it, it still comes up, right? So Jupiter in Leo there squaring that Chiron in Taurus. Chiron is going back to Aries, right? But Taurus is that stability, that security. And we've been chugging along as humans saying that our family is our security, right? So Jupiter is going to retrograde back into Aries, and then it'll come, not Jupiter, sorry, Chiron, the wounded healer, is going to retrograde back to Aries and then come back into Taurus. So that we'll be dealing with security issues, all right? And there's also a cycle around of what happened in 2010. So we need to be careful of our money. Taurus is about security, financial security, materialism, practical earth stuff, right? They're good workers. The Tauruses, I had a healing client yesterday. She's an amazing little young girl. Taurus, very hardworking and studying at the same time. So hats off to her and good luck to her. So, yes, Jupiter's left Cancer, Jupiter's gone into Leo, Jupiter's going to be opposing Pluto in Aquarius. And then when the full moon in Aquarius, it's going to conjunct Pluto. The sun is going to conjunct Jupiter, that opposition. And it's not doomsday, it's just big energy. It's big changing energy. Right, so and then we've got the Mars coming along to activate everything. So this is what we've got in our future. So astrologers have said, yes, July's a big month, but it's going to go into August. Now, I did do a video, go and have a look about the 4 degrees, all these 4 degrees. Well, this is going to go on and on till 2030, right? So we're riding the wave. We are riding the wave. We are competent surfers. Right, we have direction because we have chosen to be spiritual beings having a human existence, human life, all right? We're not out there without a rudder, okay? We have rudders. We have the discipline of astrology. We have something to hold on to. And I also did the video about Sedna, because holding on reminds me of the Sedna story. And Sedna is in Gemini as well, okay, early degrees. And the father chopped off the fingers of his daughter to save his own life in the rough oceans, Okay, go back. I've done that video as well this year. Okay, so we've got there's a lot going on and no need for panic, but it all has to come together as in your chart. Okay. The reason I want to get back to Pluto is because Pluto is in Aquarius. We call Aquarius the collective. But who is the collective? Well, it's us. It's all these individuals. So if the collective is going to move anywhere, it'll be where the majority of the individual's consciousness is. So that's what's important, is that we do our work. Don't worry about what's going on out there unless it affects ourselves or our people personally, right? And do you, okay? Expand your consciousness, raise the frequency of your vibration. With Leo, release. You know, Leo's attached to the father. There's father issues with Leo. I have a Leo rising. I can show you back through my parents, grandparents, Leos, Capricorns. This, you know, I'm here to clean up some ancestral Leo, Capricorn stuff, right? Those two together are very powerful, but pull against each other, very powerful. So, you know, father issues can come up with this Jupiter and South Node, you know, and K2 in Leo. Are we losing some of that? You know, I don't even want to say it, right? That's the energy. South Node is releasing what isn't it's shady. It's not the positive, shiny energy of Leo. You know, why does Leo, we know that Saturn, Capricorn, has father issues too, because it's Father Saturn and the opposition is Mother Moon, okay? Well, with Leo, it's Father Sky. It's the sun, okay? If that sun doesn't shine, we're not here. There is no story. You know, we go back thousands of I think it was the age of Aries, Ra, the sun. Ra, Ram, the sun. Okay, so if the sun doesn't shine, we're not here. The sun is the most powerful energy on the planet because it lights the planet, number one, and it warms the planet. It heats the planet. Otherwise, it'd be freezing. Ice age. Right, so Father Sun, Mother Earth. So with the Leo, with the shining of the self, if the father has shut the child down, the child doesn't want to shine. It doesn't feel comfortable, obligated. It doesn't feel the ease to shine itself and to be its true self. So the father is very important in the Leo's life, and astrology textbook says that Leos have father issues. Well, I've just explained why. All right. So it's a bit sort of all over the shop, like the fluids in my body. So I just wanted to sort of talk about that. But today is the 19th of July. And, you know, it's the exactness of all these 4 degrees. But it's been humming along and it will continue to hum along, all right? So each individual one of you out there, put your head into the textbooks, put your head into your chart. If you need me to help you, go into the description box. You can send me an email. We can do a session together, okay? And I'm very thorough, very, very thorough, and I do your numerology as well. 30-page printout of your numerology, because the numbers and the astrology, unbelievable, all right? Unbelievable. But I've noticed these things looking at them for 43 years, all right? That's the beauty. The longer you're doing your astrology, not professionally, it's a know thyself, right? Know thyself. So if you've got your 4 degrees in Aquarius, Aries, Gemini, Leo, woohoo, you know, what's going on there? If you're undergoing suffering, you're not alone. You're not alone. I have had to have so much compassion for myself. My inner child, the little girl within, has felt the return of the wound. Even though I haven't seen my father or family and no one's been picking on me for 5 years, I can still pick on myself because the patterns are in the unconscious. So if the unconscious is released, like it has with my 12th house, with others as well, because it's Cancer, it's the family. And if you were here, if you've been here and had to deal with these family issues, they never go. They never go. They just settle down, these issues, and then come up when the light is on that 12th house Cancer. But it's not just the sun ingressing or Mercury or Venus or Mars. Mercury's retrograding, and Mercury's retrograding back to a square, right? Mercury in Cancer squaring Saturn in Aries. And Saturn is in its fall in Aries as well. Saturn's not keen with the emotional energy either of Cancer or the 12th house, because, and we have that going on with Neptune and Saturn together in Aries. Practicality, the ethereal life. So I'm glad I did this. I'm glad I got up and did it. I didn't feel like doing it. Thank you for the beautiful message that I got from a gentleman that has, hopefully things will change and I will come to want to do more technology. That's all I can say. I'm here ready to make the videos, blah, 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 but I balk at the technology. And I try and make it as simple as possible, but a lot of people miss out on my message. So I ask, if you're still here listening, if you could just a comment, a love heart or whatever. I'm sending you compassion, okay? We are human beings in a very uncomfortable time to be a human being. The expansion of technology, all right? So have compassion for yourself first. And understand, my God, I born myself in a very tricky time. Well, if I'm going through this, others must be feeling this too, right? And that's where we can pick up the mantle of the Christ consciousness from the age of Pisces. Yahushua brought in the message of compassion. I don't think we did a good job with it, but we need it now. We need that tool now, if only for ourselves, if only to use that tool selfishly, not selfishly in a bad way, for the self, okay, the lower self. So the ego self could come into partnership with the higher self, the capital S. All right, my loves. So I'm going away hopefully in 5 days, so I do want to make some more videos before I go, and I'll have to put back my little plan for shorts that I was going to start with everybody's birthday and the year ahead for them, but we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm just very grateful that I got up and did this today, because when I woke up I didn't feel like it. And I have missed 1 week, and you know how I've been trying to do my consistency. All right, but you also know that if I'm not feeling well, I can't bring it. I'm not living in the old paradigm anymore, where you soldier on and all that sort of thing. There's astrologers out there that'll bring you a video every day. It's very dry. It's spot on as far as the theory goes, but it can be very dry because, the way I see it, if you're working all day, every day, you're not feeling, are you? Unless something really energetically comes to the surface. But otherwise, if you keep yourself busy, you're not processing, right? And I want to process as much as I can and have a break from being a human. I want to be an angel on someone's back. I want to be a guide. That's what my next life's about. And I've known that since my teenage years. I said something very weird one day that shocked myself. So, yep, that's it. And I love you. Namaste. Enjoy this energy. Do something that you feel maybe a little scared to do, and push through like I've done today. But please write a comment if there's anything you've observed as well. But if you are feeling family stuff, come back. It's that retrograde Mercury Sun in Cancer, heading for that square with Saturn, right? And, you know, Pluto opposing Jupiter in Leo, our ego, Leo. But Pluto's there for the collective, okay? So it's not about one person, it's about all of us. But for all of us to ascend, each individual person has to take personal responsibility. All right, darlings, I love you and thank you so very much. Please comment, give us a smile. Bye-bye.